welcome to another session with where East meets West. And we're talking about leadership. This week, as we continue talking about leadership intelligence and how do you become an intelligent leader, it's interesting. Now, last time we spoke about getting to know yourself. Do you know who you are? Do you know what ticks you? Do you know what makes you happy? Do you know what makes you cry? Do you know yourself? And then we talk about how to think big, how to think different. Do you want to be part of the status quo? Do you want to be unique? Do you want to stand out? And how big do you think? Are you small-minded? Is your goals, set where you can achieve it, or are they stretch goals that is pushing you out of your comfort zone? And thirdly, we talk about being vulnerable. And as leaders, your followers, your people need to see that you are human and that things also go wrong with you. What are those good things that happen, and how you are able to overcome them. So it's not about you being this big show and nothing ever goes wrong and everything is so perfect with you. That is impossible. So as we look at the leadership and we talk more about leadership intelligence, I thought of how presently, I'm speaking from this side of the world, our education system, the way we were brought up has actually wired us to be followers. When we were kids, you born into this world, your parents were there telling you what to do, what not to do. You get into school age, again, your teachers are telling you what to do, what you must not do. You get into a workplace now, and your bosses are telling you what to do. And so we came through this sort of grooming, are wired to think that someone else needs to tell us what to do. It's we are not able to think for ourselves, and many of us actually are like that. You hire so many people now and you bring them on to work with you, and they're waiting for you to tell them what to do because that is how they were groomed. And some of you might be wondering, how do I get out of this mindset of wanting to be told what to do? How can I start being more proactive in my learning, my doing? How do I condition my mind so that I can start developing my leadership skills, that I would become more critical thinking, more strategic in my decision making, and all aspect of this now, instead of depending and waiting on someone to tell you what to do. So as you know, Coach Harish joins us from India, and he will be sharing and continue talking more about intelligent leadership. And so, Coach, maybe you can add a little bit more to this, and how can we also develop more of a mindset of leaders instead of followers? And yes, instead, sometimes we do have to be followers in certain situations, but I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking about developing a mindset here now on how do we become more of an intelligent leader that is leading in all these aspects now, that not waiting for people to be told what to do, all right, or people to tell us what to do. So Coach Harish, welcome, and looking forward to hearing from you and your intelligent leadership from all the way from the East.
Thank you very much, Shanti. Great privilege to be again back on the show every Thursday, 10 p.m. India time and 12:30 Guyana time. I'm sure people have been listening, and those who missed on the call, they must be listening to the recording or using the YouTube channel to listen to what we have been sharing in East leadership and West leadership. So, last time we talked about the intelligent leader, be it in India or be it in your country. He needs to get to know himself. Is he a leader? Is he behaving like a leader? Is he becoming the leader? Or he is still the same? Now, as you mentioned in your opening remarks, yes, we create leaders, and leaders are not born. Their environment, their knowledge, their belief, their skills, and the way they conduct themselves make them a leader. And leaders are responsible to create followers and future leadership. Are they looking at this aspect of leadership? Are they creating more and more leaders by showing the path, by giving them direction, and by holding their hand in this process of growing to become a leader? And every follower has the desire. Every follower had the desire to be the leader. Isn't it a great thought? Now, do the leaders inculcate this thought in them that you will one fine day be the leader? You got to work hard on yourself, getting to know yourself, think different, think big, and you are vulnerable. So, today, as we create future leaders, before I move on, I must share those secrets which we left last time. We shared the three words: getting to know yourself, thinking differently, thinking big, and you are vulnerable. So, today, the fourth most important: having a mindset of entitlement versus a mindset of duty. Having a mindset of entitlement versus a mindset of duty. Where are you in this? I ask the current leader in East as well as West, where are you in this today? Are you entitled to be there and take the journey upwards or otherwise? And what are you doing every single day to show the people that you are truly a leader? And building a followership so that they can listen, learn, and grow and imbibe those qualities of a leader from you and move from follower to be the leader in time. Why I ask this question is one part is listening, two part is understanding, and the third part is creating a desire to work on yourself to become the leader you have thought to become. So it has to be a desire. I need to be the best follower and follow my leader. And we call putting into your shoes. How people enter your shoes. Now, to enter into your shoes, you know what is the most important part? They have to remove their own shoes. They have to remove their own shoes, and only then they can fit into your shoes. So it's a very important statement. I learned what do you need to remove is what you are having. And what do you need to acquire is what you don't have, which you need to when you enter into the shoes of the leader. So, this very aspect is shifting your mindset. I am entitled to be a follower, and now, after following for a couple of months, years, I look at self my duty to move to lead myself, my organization, my people. Now, how soon can this come is the challenge which you have here. And you have to work hard on yourself to step into the shoes, feel the shoe, and start walking in that shoe as if you own it. So habits will change, and to make an impact, you will have to look at the big picture which your leader was looking at. So it's very important for leadership, be it here in the East or in the West or in your own country, they need to learn those leadership skills, those listening skills, those speaking skills, those negotiating skills, and how they present themselves to the world so that people believe and want to become the leader that they see in you. So, this is the fourth part, and next is the fifth. You have to leverage your gifts and address the gaps. So, leveraging your gifts and addressing your gaps so that you can move into that role that you have chosen. And I want your thoughts on these two aspects, Shanti, before I move on to the other two. So, having a mindset of entitlement versus a mindset of duty. As a follower, you move into the zone of becoming the leader over a period of time. And when you leverage the gifts over a period of time, you address the gaps within you, learn, bridge, and move on. So I want your thoughts to be shared before we move on.
Yes, coach. I'm thinking entitlement, duty. What can this be? And so, what I found with many leaders is that as a leader, do you feel that because you're put in a position, it's your name, you're entitled to be called the boss, or you're entitled to be, you know, whatever you tell people to do, they must do it. So how do you see it? Do you see it as a entitlement? Do you see it as a duty that you're doing something? But is it really something you're doing it out of your heart? When you think of leadership, I think leadership is about a heart condition as to how would you lead your people. And if you feel, and I'm speaking here now from the opposite end, as leaders who are developing now, you find that many people who are coming into organizations now, they have this entitlement mentality that, oh, I'm entitled to get this kind of benefits. I'm entitled to get this kind of salary. So if you want the best out of me, you need to pay me for this. You need to do this for me. You need to. So this kind of entitlement comes in this generation, I would say right now, instead of more of a serving kind of mentality. And so instead of coming in to say that, how can I make this organization better? How can I use my gifts here now that I was given? And, right now I'm reading a book a lot on giftedness. And some of our giftedness, it's in us. It's already was placed in us. Some of them need development, and some of the things we do might really not be your gift. And so it's really great, I would say important, that you know where your strength lies. What are the things you really stand out? It becomes so easy for you, so you know those are your gifts. It's not a struggle to do it, right? And so when we're talking about those gifts, those strengths that you have, how do you take it into an organization and see it as, I am here to make this place better, I am here to make my team around me better, and I'm going to use the gifts that I have to do that, right? So when we talk about leveraging your gifts, look at those things. I've been learning a lot, in these past few years, as to use your strengths more instead of focusing on your weaknesses. And sometimes we focus so much on our weaknesses that we actually lose that should I say, control of what we could have actually done and make a greater impact. So focus more on your strengths and how do you develop that, instead of the weaknesses that you may have when people are telling you maybe that's not the area you should be in. So work on the strengths instead. Yes, coach.
Great. So fill those gaps, make your want your desire, and make your desires a burning desire to move from intelligent leadership to servant leadership. A new concept. Intelligent leadership to servant leadership. You are born to serve. You are born to win. You are born to create an environment that you have followers, and the followers learn from you so that they can lead in times to come. And this is a culture which needs to come up, be it in East, be it in West. Sooner it comes, the better it will be for all of us. So I love this word, leveraging your gifts. And now that you have addressed the gaps, the next point that comes to mind is the courage, the intention to execute this with pride, passion, and precision. The courage to execute this with pride, passion, and precision. Now, this is what the intelligent leadership needs to acquire as a belief, as a knowledge, and as a skill, that they need to be passionate and they need to do it only once so that it gets done, and have the joy and the pleasure to be doing it. With this, you have to stay in the present. Watch out what's happening around you. Be vigilant and agile and keep moving on the go. Keep moving on the go. And remember, the more present you are, the more agile you are, the more vigilant you are going to become better and better. And these are the traits of intelligent leadership. And before I forget, in this journey, if required, be flexible. If required, be flexible to correct the course. So we call it course correction. And finally, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about the people you serve, the leadership that they enjoy, and the leadership they talk about. So, this is inseparable. A relationship between a leader and the culture he creates in the environment that he is leading. And the more you work on becoming better and better, you set marks that this is where we start from in terms of the culture, in the way we live, in the space we live, in the organization we live and lead. And I, as a leader, am happy to create a bunch of followers who are ready to grow, to become the leader and lead from within and outside, and show to the world that we have more to give to this world in terms of leading their community, their tribe, their organization, their families. So, relationship, it's inseparable. And that is the culture we talk about. East culture is different than West culture. Why? Because that's the new wave which has taken. And today, when we see and talk about East meets West on leadership, we are sharing who we are as leaders? How can we take up this challenge to become better leaders and create great future leadership? So it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about the people you work with, work on, and create that mindset shift. And then they realize that this is the path that they need to work on and become better. And finally, the day you hang up your boots, they are ready to enter into your boots. So, the journey of leadership is a legacy which people need to follow, and legends are created out of leaders only through time, effort, knowledge, skill, and the power to give, the power to serve, and the power to enhance the ability of their followers to become good to great on this journey of becoming leaders. And quote unquote intelligent leadership is what we spoke about. And intelligent leadership is here to stay. And we are going to create more and more intelligent leaders here and there. So, East meets West on leadership is what we've been speaking about. And Shanti, I want this to be spread across your country, and this message should go across the world that we are meant to grow by listening, learning, and growing together and create a mindset of growth, of learning, and becoming the person that we need to become. So, these are my thoughts, and I want your thoughts on this part which I shared just now. Go ahead.
So, indeed, as you were speaking, I thought of culture and from the East and the West culture, where we look at, you talk about relationships, and sometimes I look at on the West side, it's more individualistic kind of approach, and it's all about you, and you're first, and it's that individual comparing to the West side. Sorry, from the east side, it's more of the collectivism, the collectivity of the people coming together. You would see families who are embracing each other to achieve things, and it's total different culture from that end and what you see from this end. And so as leaders who step into the role of leadership, it's this also is going to play with your mind. It's not about you. It's not an individual here who is, you know, on the spotlight here in a sense, and it's all about you. But everything that you're doing, whatever you're achieving in your organization, or where you're leading from, is that there's a team behind you actually who does most of the work pretty much. And how do you see it as it's a team effort? It's collectively we have done this, and it's not about you. It's you learn that great leaders, when everything goes well and they look out the window and they give praise to the people, and when things don't go so well, they look in the mirror and they ask themselves, what could I have done better, what do I need improving in, and they take it on them. And so how many leaders today want to do that? I find it really hard to find people who like that, because right now it's all about them, and they get the praise and people say all these big fancy thing, and that's where they get to fill their ego, and that's what fuels them. But then how are you creating followers? Indeed, how when you take off your shoes and you're gone. And it's sad that even I was speaking to a chamber president a few hours ago, and I was saying the same thing to him. I wonder what's in the mindset of the leaders in this world right now, because are they not just seeing that one day is coming when they won't be here anymore? And So all this big fight and all this and that and for power, for a namesake or whatever it is that they're fighting for, and in the end, you're gone. And I think as leaders is about how do you look at creating leaders who will continue the work when we are gone, leaders who will be able to, that succession planning for your organization, that it continues. You see so many organizations that had really great leaders, but when they're gone, what happened to the organization? It fall away, or it totally gone, disappear out from the market. And so because of leadership, they have not developed leaders who will take their shoes when they're gone. And so it is important that as leaders that we understand that we are not here forever, and that our job is to be able to do what we can do in the time we've been placed on this earth, to do it and to do it with others. And so in that way, you're creating others. When you're gone, your legacy kind of lives on. So those are a few of the thoughts that came to my mind as you were speaking. We are challenged to be great leaders. Okay, and so
I am happy to listen your thoughts. I want to share three words today. Bring the first C into you. Clarity. Do you have clarity who you are, who you want to be, who you want to serve, what type of leadership you want to become or be, and where you are today? This journey has to be undertaken by you. How soon is important. And people are watching you in the journey. Remember, people are watching you in the journey and they want to take the good from this and leave the bad and the ugly or otherwise. So ask yourself how good you are or how good you need to become in the journey of moving ahead as a leader to be a legend. So the distance is this: leader to legend. Are you going to take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, or there's a defined goal? And the followers you have in the journey, how soon do you want to give them the opportunity to lead, or hold it with you till you die? So, the mindset of the leader is I need to create 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, whatever the number, me, as good as me or better than me. When he makes that decision, it becomes time bound. And those people who engage with him, they have to be released to become leaders by delegation or by adding territories or by adding countries so that your message is spreading to the world, be it individual, be it political, be it organizational, be it the way you want it. Leadership has to grow, it cannot be stopped. Two, the way you communicate. So the first was clarity. Number two is communication. The way you communicate day in, day out, morning, evening, night. And are you making that impact? Are there people looking at that? Are there people carrying that and building themselves to acquire those new habits and let go those habits which have stopped them to be the leader? So finally, when you have these two aspects, the third, how consistent you are on a day on day to move on the scale of 0 to 10, to be the leader, to teach, and to transform your followers to become leaders. So, today, as we shared these points, these points which I shared on the intelligent leader, I will re speak them for the benefit of those listeners. One, get to know yourself. Two, think differently and think big. You are vulnerable as a leader, so that's a decision that you need to look at. Having a mindset of entitlement versus a mindset of duty, leveraging your gifts and addressing your gaps. The sooner you close the gaps, the earlier you create followers to become leaders. And having the courage, the passion, and precision to execute with joy, happiness, and pride. And staying present and being vigilant, agile, and in case required, correct the course. Don't be stubborn. Be flexible in case required to change the course. And finally, the most important point, it's not about you, it's about them. And this relationship is inseparable when we speak about our leadership is creating a culture for people to adapt, work on, so that the culture speaks and it speaks from a long distance. When people speak about this is the culture in East, this is the culture in West, it's those collection of those habits which have been created afresh and the impact they are making on the lives of people. So, this is a great thought for intelligent leadership to bring into them, to work more on them. And it's not about you, it's about how you do, and what you give, what you share, how you care, and how you give them the opportunity to move from followership to leadership. These are a few thoughts which I wanted to share on East meets West on leadership, adding value to leaders today. And from your platform, Shanti, I'm so proud that we as leaders are sharing our knowledge, our wisdom, and changing the way people lead and imbibing in them those qualities of leadership which they need to possess and learn and talk about and create more and more leaders in the future.
Definitely. Coach, you have added a lot of value, I would say, to the leaders around this world. And I do believe all of us are leaders. As I said before, is that in every sphere of your life, you are influencing someone. You could be a housewife, or you could be just somebody that you think is not anybody big or in any position, but you are influencing. So John Maxwell said that leadership is influence. So as long as you're influencing someone, you are a leader. So how do you develop your leadership intelligence is important, and it all come back down to your mindset as to, do you want to develop your leadership intelligence? Do you want to become a better leader today and in whatever you're doing? And so it's important that you work on yourself. It's important that you understand it starts with you and growing you. Okay, and so thank you for to all our viewers. And if you have any questions that you would like us to talk on and give some more points on that will help you to get more clarity so that you can move faster, please do share it with us. We are here on Thursdays at 12:30 Guyana time and 10 p.m. India time. And next week, Thursday, we will be here again. So send your questions so that we can also talk about it. And even right now, you can share anything. You can share this video with anyone who also needs to hear these points, and so that they could get better. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Coach, for joining us. And we will
Thank
be
you very much. Looking forward to meet some great people next week and sharing with our thoughts on leadership, intelligent leadership, and leadership in today's times. Thank you very much. See you next Thursday, same time. Thank you.
okay. Bye.